If you think you can't achieve financial freedom with a low salary, you're wrong. If you don't believe it, listen to the words of Dave Ramsey, #1 best-selling author with several bestsellers, personal finance expert and host of the Dave Ramsey Show, which has over 16 million listeners every week.
Got to study and think about this money stuff through the lens of behavior modification. It's not a math problem.
This means it doesn't matter if we have a 6-figure salary or a 4-figure salary, because it's not about how much money you make, it's about how we make our money work for us. If you feel like you earn too little and always feel like the money doesn't come to you at all, don't worry, you're not the only one, there are millions more like you. Today I'm going to show you Dave Ramsey's plan to move towards wealth regardless of your income level. Step 1. Create a budget. Let's imagine that we want to sail in the great ocean of our financial future, and our salary represents the wind that drives the sails of the ship. Surely we will not have a gust of wind that will take us at great speed, but even a very gentle breeze will take us where we want if we know how to navigate. This is where the budget comes in, which will act as our compass to guide us. It is true that you will still have doubts, and right now you are thinking about all those things that prevent you from saving money, but do not worry. The problem that most people have is that they do not know how to manage and spend a lot without realizing it. To combat this problem, Dave Ramsey proposes a type of budget he calls zero-based, meaning that all income expenses should equal zero. In other words, if you earn $3,000 a month, everything you spend and use to save should add up to $3,000. The idea of this concept is to give every dollar a purpose to maximize its usefulness, because we are at a stage where our income is not very high. The truth is that it is a style of budgeting that can give great benefits no matter the financial situation, but it may be that the most important thing is to be intentional. For example, we want to save $100 this month. That means we will have to eliminate any unnecessary expenses such as going out to dinner, impulse purchases, or having a coffee in a bar. This way we can reduce that $100. This is called cause and effect, action and reaction. Simple, right? We have to look at things over the long term to measure the impact. Let's say we want to save $100 a month. A year would be $1,200, and in 5 years it would be $6,000, which would be very good for an emergency or investment fund. I know it doesn't seem easy to save that amount every month, but it becomes more feasible if we understand that it is not about saving but about taking care of our expenses. You will realize which are those unnecessary expenses that take money away from you and that you could put them to better use for your economic prosperity. That is why we need to elaborate a budget and start taking control of your personal finances. Step 2. Eliminate debts. On our way to financial freedom, we must get rid of bad debts. Those are the debts that take money from us every month with their high interest rates. Imagine that debts are like heavy rocks that we have to carry as we move forward. These rocks slow us down, and if we carry too many of them, they will not allow us to move and we will get stuck in poverty. Fortunately, Dave Ramsey has a very useful strategy to eliminate them one by one, and the best of all is that it is very easy. It consists of organizing all our debts from lowest to highest and start concentrating our efforts on the lowest ones. That is to say, we will use all the extra money we have to pay off the lowest debt, but without forgetting the minimum payment of the other debts. After paying that debt, we will continue with the next smaller one, and so on until we pay them all. Why do it this way and not start with the debts with higher interest rates? That's because this strategy focuses on the psychological power of small victories and motivation. When we pay a small debt, we feel victorious and motivated to continue with the next debt. If we are highly motivated and stay focused on our goal, sooner rather than later we will have paid off all the debts and the burden of that burden will be lifted. In this way, you also gain speed when it comes to paying, because when you pay off a small debt, you can use the resources with which you paid it to pay the next one. When you have paid off some debts, you will have accumulated much more money to pay the remaining ones. Once we get rid of the bad debts, we can put all our efforts in the next step. Step 3. Establish an emergency fund. Emergencies, or unexpected problems that have the power to turn our lives upside down, will never go away. In order to be able to solve all these situations without getting too complicated, we need to have an emergency fund. Not having one is like taking a boat trip across the ocean without life jackets or lifeboats, hoping that there will not be a storm and something will happen to the boat. Even though there are bound to be storms, you certainly don't want to go through one without a life preserver. Financially, your life preserver will be your emergency fund, and it's what will save you if you fall overboard and keep you from sinking. The reality in much of the world is that most people do not have an emergency fund of at least $500, which means they have too high a level of financial insecurity. In the event that something happens to them, they will have no way to move forward. Dave Ramsey advises to prepare an emergency fund of an equivalent of 3 months' salary initially and from their work to bring it to 6 and 12 months. It is the ideal to be able to cover more expensive emergencies, and it is money that has to go to a separate account which will be untouchable and easy to access because the objective is that it can be used quickly. It is not convenient to have it invested in assets that are difficult to liquidate or that may be in a period of devaluation when the money is needed. To raise this money, it is necessary to reduce expenses, as we mentioned in the first step. It is not an obligation to do it. It is about doing it voluntarily because we understand that we must prioritize financial security over immediate satisfaction. It is not only about reducing expenses, but also about finding more sources of income that can be allocated to the emergency fund. Having this fund will be like building a wall against problems. Step 4. Time to invest. People who manage to become rich do it with investments and not by working for other people. An example for you to understand it better is going to be how to grow apples. We start with the easiest thing, which is to plant the seeds so that with the passage of time and with much patience and care they can be harvested. In investments, our seeds represent the money we save. The passage of time and patience are for when we make them in the long term. The most convenient thing for the plants to grow would be to water them, for the investments would represent the compound interest and reinvestment, and the best thing is that when we invest in the long term, it is not required huge amounts of money to start. With a low capital, you can start and see great results in the long term. Taking as a reference the Standard & Poor's 500, an index that in the last 100 years has obtained an average yield close to 10%. If we invest in a fund indexed to the SIP 500 for 20 years, our investment would grow exponentially if we use compound interest. If you don't know what interest is or don't know how it works, let me know in the comments if you would like me to explain it in a simple and intuitive way. It is not necessary to have $20,000 to start investing. With a low capital and investing in the long term and with compound interest, we will be able to see our money grow. There is also the option of adding more capital when we have extra or saved money. The advantage of investing long-term in the U.S. market, for example, is that you will not have to worry about recessions. As they are part of the economic cycle, eventually stocks will recover and companies will continue to grow. In case you feel insecure about only investing in the market, you can diversify into other things like bonds, precious metals, real estate, and many more options. Here the important thing is to have diversified investments that make our money work for us, multiplying, and of course you can invest in your own venture that will generate some income. Step 5. Find more sources of income. By now few people would be surprised to learn that more than a third of Americans rely on freelance or remote jobs to provide them with sufficient income, and the truth is that any of us can offer our skills online. Some ways to do this could be programming, writing, drawing, creating and editing videos, designing blueprints, and even teaching classes. Fiverr, Upwork, and Workana are very good platforms to do jobs remotely. You can also do things outside the digital world if we refer to it. For example, if you are good with wood, you can sell furniture or tables. You can offer your services to repair or do maintenance, or you can take care of pets or children. The possibilities of these types of jobs are endless. The important thing is to get more sources of income, as it will allow us to save more and give us more security, because you never know when you can get fired from your main job. This step focuses on having at least 2 sources of income. Step 6. Live below your means. The key to saving money and avoiding debt is to live below our means. This is key when our income is low. It should be made clear that this is not about depriving yourself of all the things you like. It is about making a sacrifice so that you can empower yourself in the near future to stop living paycheck to paycheck. Living below our means not spending more than we earn, and to achieve this we have to forget about living in an overpriced house that costs us more than 30% of our income. We have to deprive ourselves of coffee in the cafeteria every day, of meals out of the house, every time we feel like it, because the best option is to cook at home. We have to prioritize functionality over any other factor when it comes to shopping. This is about making smart decisions when it comes to using our money and not letting emotions rule us. When you intend to spend more than $1,000 on a new phone, ask yourself if you really need the phone or if it's better to make that money grow if you invest it for the long term. Start planning your purchases and stop winging it. It's the best way to live below your means so you have more possibilities financially. Dave Ramsey has a lot of experience helping thousands of people get out of a complicated situation. This requires a bit of sacrifice, but the results can be achieved by anyone who is willing to do it. If you liked the video, remember to like us to support us and follow us so you don't miss more content like this. Thanks for watching the video and see you soon.